Okay, so these are basically the 10 jobs potentially the physically or mentally disabled should never do. And the reason why is when you look at a job as to whether or not an individual should do it or not do it, you have to consider what is the harm that's going to come to that person or the harm to others as a result of something going wrong. Now, right off the bat, people are going to feel like, hey, I'm disabled. I can do whatever job I want. I can do anything except when it comes to applying for disability benefits. Obviously, at that point, you want to be able to not do any job that's full time. But these are the types of jobs that you would have to understand that having a disabled person, whether they have a leg problem, where it's an amputation, or potentially they're mentally unsound, and you shouldn't have basically, chainsaws in their hands, where they're homicidal or potentially suicidal. These are the types of jobs where you want to stay away from doing them if you are a disabled person. Here is job number one: Alaskan tree surgeon or bush logger. You're going to have to be a climber. You're going to have to operate spinning chains of death. Lots of fungus, bacteria, and viruses are going to be flung into the air when you go to saw into these trees. Immediate rescue, usually very limited because nobody can get to you because you're on the side of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. And if you screw up, you likely will hurt somebody else because that tree is going to fall down and potentially be felled the wrong way. Number two, North Sea deep sea welder. Unusual pressures. So a lot of people that have, issues with their ears, issues with their eyes, issues with their noses, not a good job for them. You're going to have to wear a heavy suit, be able to physically move, do a lot of functional movements. Immediate rescue is extremely limited. You have a team down there. They can potentially get to you. But if it's a weird situation where they can't get to you immediately, it's a very, very bad day. You screw up the welding, you likely will hurt somebody else. Okay. Ice road trucker. Sub-zero temperatures, super fun. Climbing in and out of the vehicle, which is way up high. Steep grade climbs. Truck is going up big mountains, down big mountains. Jerking motions in vehicle, right? So you're in the vehicle, you have to hit the brakes, you're feeling all these pulling motions from the trailer behind you. High percentage of accidents. Very high percentage of accidents where you could potentially be injured even further in that truck. Immediate rescue is usually very limited because, of course, the ice roads are icy. Truckers have to get the supplies to these different locations. If you screw up, you will likely hurt somebody else. You could potentially run into somebody else with that giant 18-wheeler. Okay. Large animal vet. Injury from an angry animal is likely to occur at some point. Just gonna. Odd angles and movements are required of your body. You have to get under the animal, get around the animal. You have to move while the animal is trying to push you over. Animal might try to kick you. You've got to be ahead of all those things. Diana Fernandez, thank you for the 99-cent donation. Absolutely love it. Very, very cool. Excellent. Next one is this. Going from location to location. When you're a large animal vet, you're constantly traveling from one point to another. You are constantly traveling from one point to another because they're not going to go ahead and put the cow or the bison or the whatever into a little tiny cat cage and then bring it over to, wherever location. They're not going to do that. You have to physically go to the animal. Walking over uneven terrain. Very common with large animal vets because you have to go into the field where the animal fell down. Immediate rescue is likely, but if you screw up, you might hurt somebody. However, it's unlikely that you'll hurt a human. Deep sea fishermen. Going on the Navy quote from Charlton Zimmerman. Drowning is very likely. Severe injury is very likely. Heavy weights being lifted, repetition, constant injuries from that repetition, very likely. Immediate rescue is very limited. You screw up, you likely will hurt somebody else. High-pitch northern roofers. Fall risk, extremely likely. Nails in the foot, overheating, no ice cream on the roof, very likely. Heavy shingles, that basically you have to get all the way up onto the roof. Heavy 4x8 pieces of wood that you have to get all the way up onto the roof. Immediate rescue is obviously going to be available, but they're probably going to have to get you from the bottom of the roof. If you screw up, nobody will likely get hurt other than yourself. Thank you for Diana Fernandez for the for that little donation thingy right there. That's awesome. I just saw that. There we go. Okay, perfect. I see it now. Yeah. Excellent. That's awesome. Foxy dog, itchy paws, pooper scooper. There you go. That's very good. Underground miner. Poor air conditions, difficulty walking, and shoulder movement will be constant, right? Digging, moving things. Short lifespan. One of the big things that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to miners are the fungus, the bacteria, and the other things that actually pop up in the air that essentially create a very negative thing for those who have low immune systems. Because when you're down there, if you have to take off your mask, you're integrating with things that a human being has not really come into contact with for a very, very, very long time, if at all ever, because you're under a mountain. Next one. And of course, with that one, immediate rescue is limited. If you have a giant crash down of rock the mountain collides inward, not a good deal. You screw up, you'll likely hurt somebody else, obviously. City install crane operator. You know those giant cranes that they build like right next to the building? Climbing on and over things. Micro vibrations. Limited escape options. Immediate rescue is very limited. You screw up and you almost certainly will injure somebody. Number 9, alcohol delivery truck driver. Very heavy truckloads, very heavy dolly loads, climbing and rolling into drop-off areas can be very tricky. Dealing with difficult restaurant employees and personnel, not to mention the customers, not always easy. Immediate rescue is likely going to be very common. You'll be rescued every time. And if you screw up with the alcohol, you'll likely get too much help to fix it because magically the alcohol will disappear. Number 10, hazardous material remover. Immune system reduction is likely with this because you're around things that are just going to reduce your immune system. Extreme danger mistakes are likely permanent. Usually involves safety equipment and suits that can be very awkward and heavy to wear. Usually requires integration with synchronized workers, not that they're all moving in the same synchronized fashion, but you do a thing, they do a thing. Immediate rescue is available, unless it's nuclear. You screw up, you likely will hurt many, many, many people. Now, here is the irony with this list of jobs. Many of the people that I know who are physically impaired, injured, physically, trauma to the body, having some problem with their lungs, being able to breathe, developing a heart condition from overstressing it, having mental conditions where they're away from home for too long, they get anxious, they have anxiety, they get depressed, they get super low. All of a sudden, they have these memories of losing a friend, they have PTSD. Each one of these jobs is filled with disabled individuals. That's the irony, is that each one of these jobs creates disabled individuals. So when it comes to things like tree surgeons, a lot of those guys, alcohol use, other things as well, lots of trauma to the body, lots of issues. The point with this whole thing is that if I go through this list, I'm going to go through it really quickly. I want you to think about all the people who are working these jobs that you've ever met. I want you to think about how they are once they reach 50. It's not like working at an office where you just, you can keep working, etc. The irony is with these jobs, all of them are almost always filled with people who have mental and physical impairments, which then brings up the next idea, which is that why do these jobs create disabled people? And why do these jobs attract disabled people? That's a good question. Alaskan tree surgeon or bush logger, North Sea deep sea welder, ice road trucker, large animal vet, deep sea fisherman, high-pitched northern roofer. High-pitched just means a really steep roof like that, not like Florida roofs like that. Next one. Sorry, I lost it there. There we go. Underground miner. City install crane operator. Alcohol delivery truck driver. And hazardous material remover. All interesting jobs that have a significant amount of disabled people working for them. So it must attract disabled people, and it must also create disabled people. The next video that we're going to be talking about is essentially how to get disability benefits for free. It was an interesting thing. I received a phone call. The person asked me, he's like, look, I don't want to hire anybody. I don't want to do anything. I don't wanna. How do I get disability benefits for free? And this was essentially how I approached answering his specific question. And I think it's a fun way to look at it. I will see you at the next video in about 3 to 5 minutes, and I will see you there shortly. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we will go from there. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a wonderful night. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.